You know, we mentioned at the top of the show, we are remembering the life of the great Robin Williams today. So let's take a look at some of his incredible roles.
You don't know about real loss, because that only occurs when you love something more than you love yourself.
Why can't we treat death with a certain amount of humanity and dignity and decency and, God forbid, maybe even humor?
Captain, my captain.
Sit down, Mr. Anderson. You hear me? Sit down. Sit down.
Here to talk more with us about the life and career of Robin Williams is our friend from People Magazine, Steve Helling. Welcome, Steve. I'm sorry I couldn't be under a better situation
I know.
here.
It's awful, but you know, it was a big shock to everybody because it was so sudden.
Yeah, well, what do we know so far about his death?
Well, you know, obviously we do know that it was yesterday morning that he was found dead in his home.
Right.
He was breathing at first, and then, you know, by the time they actually got him to the hospital, he had passed away.
Wow.
Was there any ever indication that he was severely depressed?
Well, you know, he has battled a lot of demons over the years. He's faced drug addiction. He's faced, you know, depression, and so people knew on the set of his show, the Crazy Ones knew that things weren't quite right. You know, he would light up when the cameras were on, and then immediately withdraw when they went off. Which, you know, it's kind of textbook. We hear this a lot with comedians.
Yeah, it's funny. You never really know what people are going through.
Right.
But he was working. We know that. What was he working on last?
Well, you know, he was. The thing about Robin Williams is that he was always working. He was always like looking for the next job, looking for the next interesting thing to do.
Yeah.
So you know, the show hadn't really clicked like he wanted it to. So he was actually searching for other roles. He was getting a lot of offers because everybody was always offering things to Robin Williams. So it was, the nice thing about it was that he was still in demand, and he felt like the industry still accepted him and loved him. It's just, you know, he had those demons that he couldn't fight.
Yeah, was there anything in the can that may be coming out still?
I don't know. Is there something you have in mind?
You know, I'm not sure.
No,
I hope
really,
there is,
I mean,
though. You know,
there were actually four things in development that he was working on, and so those didn't. You know, obviously they're going to have to figure those out.
Yeah.
You know, the big one, of course, that everybody was interested in was Mrs. Doubtfire 2.
Yeah.
Sure.
And you know, you know, it hadn't been finished being written or anything, so it wasn't very far along, but he was really keen to do it. He wanted to do that.
Well, Mrs. Doubtfire was Kristen's
I know,
favorite,
that was definitely
right?
one of my favorite movies, and I have to say, like, I've never seen so much outpouring of love for someone after they passed. What do you think it is about Robin Williams that resonates so much with people?
Well, you know, a lot of people, you know, of a certain age have grown up with him. Either they grew up with him on Mork and Mindy or Jumanji or whatever, and so it's more than one generation that, you know, one of their first comedians was Robin Williams.
Yeah. Sure.
Wow, and why do you think he really was such a one-of-a-kind talent? I mean, so brilliant.
Well, you know, he was just a very funny guy.
He was.
And you know, the thing that's interesting is that he was always up, except for when the cameras went off.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We'll have more on our website, of course, and we'll be right back right here on The Daily Buzz.
Thanks, David.